Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making a recipe that kind of defies logic and reason. It's super simple. Really all you need is like a knife to chop up the pecans into smaller chunks and a 9x13 pan. And those are the only tools, and an oven. The only tools that you need. Everything else, you just dump it in, hence the name dump cake. You just put it in and you're good to, well, I guess, sorry, I lied. We'll need a spatula because we need something to smooth it out. Because the name dump cake, there's a slight smoothing step also. It's not just purely just pile it on, which would be impressive. But yeah, there's no mixing that happens, which I've made this once before with my mom years ago, before the glutening. So I'm kind of curious to see how it works with gluten-free cake mix. I'm assuming it's just gonna work very similarly. But yeah, you just kind of dump each of the ingredients in, smooth it out, kind of make it almost like a 7-layer dip, but with cake. And then you put it in the oven and delicious cake comes out. So I'm very excited to give this a go. I will say, I read the recipe and I'm using a different pie filling. They call for cherry, I'm using strawberry, but it does say you can use whatever you want. So pick whatever flavor vibes with you the most. And the recipe states if you don't want the coconut in there, you don't need to put the coconut in there. If you don't want the nuts, or if you don't want that kind of nuts, you can use different ones. They actually recommend maybe trying it with macadamia nuts. That's all for you to give a go. It seems like a very versatile recipe and simple. So if it turns out well, you can kind of make a variety of different dishes out of this with very little effort. I've pretty much run through the ingredients just verbally in that rant, but I will more formally run through them now, and then we'll get into cooking. 20 ounces of pie filling, 20 ounces of crushed pineapple, a box of cake mix, 1 cup of chopped pecans, 1 cup of coconut, and 2 sticks of butter. The first step is going to be to put the pie filling into a 9x13 glass casserole dish. And then we're going to smooth that out within there. So just kind of an even layer of the pie filling. The second step is going to be to pour the crushed pineapple into the same 9x13, just right on top of the pie filling, and then smooth that out as well, juice and all. So just open the can, dump it in, hence the name dump cake. Now the next step, not quite as direct dumping as the previous 2 steps, but we're going to take the cake mix and sprinkle it on top of the now pie filling and crushed pineapple. Next, we want to take the cut up pecans and the coconut and then just also kind of dump that on top of everything else, making sure it's even. And now the final kind of hands-on step before baking kicks off is to pour the melted butter over top of everything. And now that the dump cake is kind of all prepped up, we want to put it in the oven at 250, so not 350, 250 for an hour. And if you want to have the coconut toasted, you can up the temperature to 350 and then bake for an additional 15 minutes. And then we want to let the cake cool now that it's come out of the oven, and then we're ready to serve. All right, here we have it. Once again, able to use my beautiful granite slab to put something hot on because I can't be bothered to plate it up for you. I'm just gonna taste it right out of here because I'm the only one eating it, so I can do what I want. So this, I'll just start out, smells amazing. It, in the oven, I mean, it's just like that like cake batter smell, and then you add in like the well, for me, strawberry, like pie filling and the nuts and the coconut, just, smells great. The appearance though, a little less great because it's funfetti. There's like the colorful sprinkles in there, but since it's kind of masked by the coconut and the like nuts and whatnot on top, the green specifically kind of peeking through in some spots, just in my mind at least, makes me go, is that mold? I know it's not because I just pulled it out of the oven, but if you're making this for a group, maybe don't go funfetti. However, funfetti is the cheapest cake mix that I've found, so weigh that out for your future decisions. I'm excited to see how this tastes. I'm assuming it's gonna be fantastic. So why don't we dig in? Let's get into it. I don't know how to describe like the mouthfeel of this, because it's like not cake in the kind of has substance form. It's in this like very gooey brownie department of kind of feel, because there's like a lot of liquid in there, or maybe the lack of liquid. I'm not sure what's causing this, because I think in like a normal, I don't know if I'm putting in more liquid here or less liquid than if I was making actual cake, but it's kind of like a cobbler because all the fruit's at the bottom, and it's not very solid. Like if I try to scoop this out, it's probably better to like scoop it. Like you wouldn't be able to like cut this with a knife and like lift a piece and it hold itself. But the flavors all just perfectly together, and it's not terribly sweet, so that's kind of a good for me, but it has enough sweetness to it that serving it with like ice cream or just like even like straight up like a glass of milk or something like that, just like that dairy aspect to kind of like cut through that sweetness, that's gonna be good. I should have made some homemade ice cream. I did buy some like French vanilla ice cream, but I mean, making it yourself is always such a delight. But this recipe, for the amount of skill required for it and for the deliciousness of the outcome, it's a home run. It's great. Anybody can make this, and I'm pretty sure, I mean, I didn't look up any like non-gluten-free recipes for dump cake, but I'm assuming you just swap out the cake mix for gluten-containing cake mix, and it'll be the same results. So, or, you know, just spend 5 seconds Googling dump cake recipe and then just finding your own that way. But for this one, I'm fairly confident, I'd say like 99% confidence, that if you swapped it out, it's good to go, because there's nothing really special happening. Maybe less butter, I don't know. But nothing special that you're really doing in this to kind of signify this is how you handle something that's gluten-free. So I think anybody can kind of use this recipe, or hey, you know, just feel my struggle and go buy some gluten-free cake mix and use that, because it ain't cheap. I mean, that's really the only struggle. Like the taste of gluten-free cake mix, I found very similar to normal cake mix. The one downside is it usually gets stale a little bit quicker, so I'm curious to see how this is going to keep. I also probably need to reread the recipe. I'm feeling like this probably needs to be refrigerated, but I'm not 100% on that. Just because like the fruit and stuff, I feel like you shouldn't be leaving that out. So I feel like this is gonna go in the fridge. And so I'm curious to see how will it be tomorrow? Because right now it being warm makes it extra tasty. So I don't know if this is a eat it cold kind of a deal or like room temperature, or should I reheat it up again? Just like pop in the microwave for a few seconds. We will see. I'm gonna obviously put it text someplace of the results of those endeavors because I'm gonna consume all of this. I'm not eating it all today. So there will be leftovers, so I'll let you know how the leftovers go. But I feel like this recipe is probably best in like a potluck party kind of setting where you make this and bring it, and then hopefully everybody kind of eats all of it in one go. But I mean, I'm up for the challenge of getting through this all on my own. And on that note, bye Mom, still not dead. See ya.